What do you do once a woman actually starts chasing you? Hi there, Men's Dating Coach HarryWilmington here, founder of IntrovertDatingSuccess.com. And on today's show, I'm going to share a success story that a guy had whereby he was able to meet a girl online and then get her to get on a date. And so at this point now, she's starting to ask for more dates, which means she is now chasing him. But what do you need to do when this happens to make sure that you don't end up losing her interest as a result? If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of when I post up new daily videos. So I thought this would be an interesting one to do because on my TikTok, which you can follow me on TikTok at HarryWilmington, but I posted up a fact that I found to be true about dating, which is that women typically chase men and that women actually prefer to chase men. And it works out better when they're the ones that are chasing you instead of you chasing them. And so I got a lot of pushback from women on there, but I also got a lot of positive feedback from guys that said, you know what, that is absolutely true. When I've had it, when I'm more patient and I let the woman come to me, that it usually results in me getting into a relationship. So I found a story on Reddit of this guy who basically has the same thing going on right now, whereby he asked the girl out, they went out, and now she's starting to request for dates. And so this is always a good space for guys to be in. But the problem is, once you get a woman to chase you, you can still mess it up by looking too overeager. And so I'm going to go over his situation and then kind of answer what it is that you should do as a guy when you notice that what you're doing is actually working. The woman's coming to you and asking you for dates and whatnot, but how should you respond to those things to make sure that you're still kind of being a challenge and you're still showing interest, but not so much that it's chasing her away. So we'll get into that real quick. You can go to IntrovertDatingSuccess.com right now to check out my eBooks, audiobooks, video courses, and freebies. You can also click on the coaching tab to schedule a one-on-one coaching consultation with yours truly. And of course, if you like the advice that you hear in this particular broadcast, you can go there, click on the tip jar tab, and support the show that way as well. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this guy's message. Share my screen here. Booyah. So, success story. And I'll stop at various parts to explain things. So he goes, I matched with an insanely cute girl a couple of weeks ago on a dating app, and we had a lot in common. She's 6 years younger than me, which in my mind seems like a lot, but I decided to shoot my shot anyway. So I did a video about this, about dating younger women and the reasons why you should consider that. But really, guy, most women out there are looking for older men because they're more established. Ideally, he's more assured of himself, so he has more confidence. And real talk, and this is something that women don't really talk about quite too often, but women actually can be very doubtful of themselves and can be not be aware of a direction that they need to go in. And a lot of times they look to men to be able to kind of clear away some of that clutter and guide them in a direction. And so unfortunately, a lot of guys their age can't really do that. But older guys that have been through it, been there, done that, seen things, and aren't as anxious or afraid about those things, they're going to look at those guys and see them as more of a safe bet because he's going to be able to get her out of her head and get her to where she needs to go. And that's one of the many reasons why they find us attractive. So don't feel bad as an older guy if you are attracting younger women and they want to date you. Okay, it's not robbing the cradle. If they're over 18, they are fair game legally. And honestly, for mating purposes, it works out better anyway. All right. Continuing on, he says, we talk back and forth at a really slow pace. She's busy a lot. And I decided to finally ask her out. No response for 2 to 3 days. I don't get mad or frustrated. So I just respond with a simple, I think we'd have a good time together since we're very similar or something like that. And still nothing for 2 to 3 days. Now, some of you guys might see this and think, okay, well, she's just not interested because I text her and she's gone away. Here are 2 things that can happen, though. For one, the fact that he met her on a dating app. I did the video earlier this year, at the start of this year, actually, about when I posed as a woman on a dating app, and that in the first 24 hours, I got 149 matches and 69 people messaging me. All right. So think about the overwhelm that women are getting on these apps. Sometimes they just got to take a break. Like, even though they like you, they're going to take a break for a little bit and say, you know what, I need to just kind of sit back and relax and really assess myself. I got other things in my real life to attend to. But more importantly, this is also a subconscious test because a lot of times women will talk to guys on apps and then they'll go away for a couple of days. And then when they come back, that same guy's been like, why aren't you talking to me? You're just playing games. We'll screw you anyway, you B-word, and yada, yada, yada. So it's also a subconscious way for her to test your temperament and to see what you're going to do if things don't happen to go your way communication-wise with this woman. Because women have to fear things like men stalking them, possibly getting stabbed or killed, getting harassed. So when this happens, you need to respond the same way this guy did. You know, he sent one message a couple of days later and saying, hey, I think we'd have a good time. And then as you'll see, he sent one more message that was also very friendly sounding. And then she responded back. And that's going to let her have a more positive outlook of you than a negative one, whereby you're texting her nonstop and you're calling out her name. That never works. Continuing, he says, figuring I got ghosted, I sent my goodbye text about how I wish her only the best. Sincerely, though, it wasn't an angry or bitter text. I just don't like leaving it with nothing at all. This is not necessarily the kind of thing I would send. I don't like sending things that make it look like there's a weakness there. Like if I'm saying, well, just best of luck to you, blah, 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 that could give a girl the impression that like, oh, he's subtly trying to get my attention again and beg for it. And so it's not necessarily the best of looks. I would have just reached out and just try to, ask for a different kind of date. But again, it worked for him. So your results may vary. That's not something I would have done, but I'm glad in this case it worked for this guy. Continuing, he says, she finally responded and told me how she's just so busy right now. In my mind, I'm thinking people make time for people they want to make time for. And that is very, very true. But that said, even if she's giving you these excuses, guys, don't get butthurt, because there's going to be that one instance every so often whereby when she sends that text, it doesn't mean she's rejecting you. She's just trying to explain herself. But you getting mad or butthurt or angry at any kind of response that a woman sends you is never going to work out in your favor. So whether it's a thing that says, oh, I'm just too busy and I hate your guts, you ain't got to respond back with something harsh, okay? Just let that stuff go and try to sit there and wait to hear the whole situation out. Continuing, he says she apologized about the lack of responding and she really wanted to go out. So she told me her free days and I set up the date. Very important. Women that like you and want to spend time with you will help you. And one of the things that they'll do is let you know the exact days and times that they're available so you have a guide on when to ask them out. He says, I said, let's do Wednesday and wear something casual and I'll pick you up at this time. She seemed incredibly happy that she didn't have to worry about anything and that the date was taken care of by me. What I tell you guys all the time, I've done several shows about this, about how women want you to take the lead. Women want you to not only plan the date, but to not ask her opinion about what it is that you want to try to do on this date, okay? Because this makes you look like a leader. And this makes you stand out from the other guys that were probably on this dating app that were like, hey, you want to go out? Great. What do you want to do? I'll take you wherever you want to go. You're thinking that that's going to actually help you get the woman. But in actuality, what it's doing is making her realize that, oh, he wants me to put the work in. He wants me to be the leader of this thing. I'm not attractive. So to be more attractive, you got to be willing to take the lead on these things. And most women will be cool with wherever you take them. It's just the first date. It's not a thing that's going to be like the end all be all of, if you pick the wrong place, that she's going to suddenly hate your guts, because it's going to be more about the conversation and the kind of energy that she's getting from you in the first place. Continuing, he says, not thinking much at this point, I go to pick her up and she is flipping beautiful and has a huge smile when she sees me. We had a really fun time and went 2 hours past what we had planned for the date. By the end of it, she had asked if I wanted to have another day where we get together again. So what happened here? This guy did the right thing. He didn't text her too much to try to get her out, but he let it be known that he wanted to take her out. She said yes. He planned the entire date, and then they went on the date and had a fun time. And they stayed a little bit past what they should have, because I'm typically like, those first couple of days, you want to kind of try to keep it at like hour and a half to 2 hours, because you want to leave a little mystery there. But they made it work out. And then at the end of the date, what happened? She said to him, I want to see you again. When can we do this? So now what's happening? Now the tables are turning. Now it goes from he was the one trying to get her on a date by showing interest and trying to suggest things, to now he showed her a great time. And she was able to, on that date, realize what a great guy he actually was beyond just their texting conversation. And now she doesn't want to let that go. Why? Because she realizes that this is a rarity. Most women do not gel well or create chemistry well with a lot of guys. As guys, we can go on a date with anybody and feel like, oh, we make chemistry because they talked to us the nice way, or they looked at us a certain way, or they paid the bill, or whatever. But for women, it's a lot harder. So when they do find a guy that they actually gel with, hits all of her boxes, and is just a good guy to be around, she cannot help but chase. And as I always say, if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. So now we have a woman that's saying, I want to see you. When can we do it again? She's trying to plan this next date. Continuing, he says, I just hear a lot of bitterness on this, which is true. Reddit has a lot of negative stories, so it's nice to see a positive story on here. But he says, myself included sometimes, just know that some people truly are just super busy. She's a full-time nursing student and she's planning her mother's wedding. Why would she do her best to reach out to a stranger when she has so many other things going on that are way more important? Exactly. So all this stuff that you hear women say about, oh, I'm too busy, I have school going on, I have this and that, so I can't see you. If a woman has high enough interest in you, she cannot help but find time to see you because she wants to let you know how important that you are to her. In fact, she'll let you know, oh, I got all these things going on, but I'm still going to see you. That's a subtle way of saying, I find you to be as important, if not more, than these other things I have going on. And in fact, you're so important, I'm going to schedule around these things to make sure I have time to see you. That's the kind of woman you want to date. A woman that's just like, oh, I got home from work today and it was so busy and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but I'm so tired. Those same women that are giving you those excuses will date somebody if they have high interest and the only time the guy can see them is after their work schedule. Continuing. So he says, good luck out there and try not to judge too harshly and stay positive. And then he leaves an update. He says, she set up another date for next week and is already wanting a third date because she wants to do so many things that we can't possibly fit them into one day. I know this was a first date, but it was a heck of a first date. I've been on plenty that sucked, even with beautiful women who were into me. This one just clicked on every level. So, as I said, this is a great space to be in, where the woman is coming to you and is showing you emphatically that she wants to see you. How can this guy screw it up? One of the things that might happen is he automatically starts agreeing to these future things. So she says, oh, I'm going to go on a date for this, and then this next weekend, and this blah, 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 blah. Like, all these things are good things. These are indicators that she has high interest and that she definitely wants to see this guy. But here's the problem, is that he's going to think to himself, okay, great. So I'm just going to now agree to all these dates, and that'll let her know that I really like her, and it'll make her happy, and that'll be a wrap. But in the process of doing that, what else is he doing? He's showing that he's always available when she wants to. He's not showing that he has a busy life outside of her. And these are things that women need to see and feel from a guy in order to really keep a strong hold on their feelings for him and her, increasing attraction, okay? Because what could happen is he says yes to all these dates right away, and he doesn't take into account his schedule or other things he has going on or his friendships or his family. And then it becomes a thing where it becomes predictable that anytime she asked him out, he'll say yes. And then she could end up being less attracted to him and he actually loses her. Okay. So it's always a great thing when a woman's chasing you, but there are a few things you need to do to make sure that those feelings stay. Okay. The very first thing is don't say yes to every invitation. You realistically should have a busy life going on with other things going on besides just her. So for example, let's say she says, hey, so I want to go out, this next week, and you've already agreed to it. Now she says, oh, and then this next week, we should go out on this Tuesday because this is that. This is where you need to kind of like say, okay, wait, you know what? I need to check my schedule. Let me get back to you. Or you can say something like, hey, you know what? I think that Tuesday I actually have something else planned with a friend of mine, so I can't make that day. But what about this Thursday? So you're doing it in a way where it's like you're still saying, hey, I want to see you, but not every time that you want to see me is a time that I can see you because you need to look like you're going to be a busy guy, okay? Another thing you got to be aware of early on is that as a woman starts to build interest, she's going to start asking for multiple days out the week to see you. Now, you might think this is a good thing because, she wants to see you Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday. But think about how many women, are really infatuated with a guy that first month and then burnout happens. And she goes from really liking a guy to be like, I just don't understand, but I just don't feel the same way that I felt when I first started dating you. I don't know what that's about. Well, what happened is you allowed her to plan multiple times to see you in the course of a week when for those first couple of months, you should be seeing her one time a week, at maximum 2 times a week. And that's really pushing it because you need to give her time to earn your attention, to earn the ability to see you more than 2 times a week. And women need to feel like they're earning you because if it's just handed to them on a platter, like, oh, here's all my attention, here's all my time. Well, women don't really respect that. And then what happens is, again, they get burnout and they're like, well, we just seem to, things are just moving so fast. Well, yeah, because she was suggesting stuff and you weren't monitoring the pacing of the relationship. So understand that there's a thing about attraction whereby it's like part of her being attracted to you is times to not see you so she can think about you. She can talk about you to her girlfriends and her family and build up an idea of who you are and how great you make her feel. And then when she does get to see you, she has this great experience that she then goes home with, and she gets to sit with that feeling and the wanting of that feeling again, because the wanting to see you is going to be more powerful than actually seeing you at times. Okay. So it's not a bad thing when a woman wants to start chasing you and start showing you examples of wanting to see you more or starts texting you more, starts calling you more, but it's your job to monitor that and keep it at a level whereby, yes, you're answering her text and phone calls. Yes, you're still seeing her, but you're also leaving a little bit of want in her to want to see you, to long for you, to really want to be in your presence. to want to do these things, not to always actually be able to do these things, okay? And if you do that, then you'll be able to pace it out the right way. You'll be able to, when you do spend time with her, you're going to make her feel like the best that she's ever felt in her life. And then when she goes away, she's going to be fiending for that feeling again, to where it's going to, by default, increase her attraction. It really is that simple, guy. So if you like the message you heard here and you want to learn how to get out of your head about this kind of stuff and learn how to be less anxious, learn how to pace out this stuff a lot better, I actually have a freebie at my website called the Girlfriend Roadmap Checklist, and it walks out for you the 10 steps you need to do in order to go from meeting a woman to making her the girlfriend, kind of like the 3-month pathway to be able to do that. It's a free download at the website. You can also check out some of the eBooks that I have there, audiobooks, et cetera, and you'll be on your way to being able to know what to do when women start chasing you. Because if you're doing the right stuff on these dates and you're making yourself stick out from all these other guys that are chasing her, trust me, she will be the one coming to you instead of the other way around. Thank you for watching this episode of the Introvert Dating Success Show. If you found the info in this episode to be helpful, please show your support by clicking on the tip jar tab, the link of which can be found at the website and in the description below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this episode, and catch new episodes right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out these other episodes so you too can learn to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.